Perspective as we like.
Good evening, and thank you all for joining us today. And we are back with another superb show, which is MSFT Student Dev Day. My name is Rashmita, and I'm the event planner for Microsoft Reactor, Bengaluru, India. But before we start today's session, I would request you all to read the code of conduct.
I'll invite Adya to come in. And Adya, you want me to share your PPT first or your screen first?
PPT. What?
PPT, okay. Adya is Microsoft Student Ambassador, Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, and she is Gold Student Ambassador, by the way. And I'm super excited for her to be here. She's going to talk about a bunch of things. We're going to have, the way we have structured these talks is basically there is basics, and there is a little bit of advanced, and there is advanced levels at the end as well. So there is all kinds of talks, so you can pick and choose however you want to, and then get to learning in our learning process. So I'm going to share the link as well, how you can learn and how you can go back and learn whatever they are teaching today, how you can go back and learn by yourself as well. Okay, I'm going to share that as well. So Adya, it's all yours, so go ahead.
Okay. Hello everyone. Hey folks, good evening. Myself Adya, and I'm super excited with you all to connect with you all virtually. Special thanks to Vivek, Rashmit, and entire backend team for providing me a floor to share my learnings with you all. So here is the agenda of the topics that I'm gonna talk with you all, like cloud computing, why do we need it, the Azure portal, the Azure virtual machines, and something new, which is Azure Bastion services. So before just jumping into the technical terms, I would request you all to imagine a scenario where post this event, if we take clicking up the picture, sharing data, and suppose that we are not having any modern technology, all we can do to share is peer to peer, or just one source, multiple fetchers, and multiple fetchers, one source. If that goes this way by one to one sharing, it seems like such an inefficient approach. So here is where cloud computing comes into the picture and helps and rescue us. So cloud computing is nothing but it is basically an on-demand services which is hosted remotely on the internet and is based on pay as you go mode. So whatever you are using, how much you are using, you pay accordingly. The cloud computing resources we have available are like applications. We have servers of physical or virtual type. We have data storage, development tools, networking capabilities, and the list goes on. So this learning about the cloud, let us see why do we need the concept. As discussed earlier, it is quite cost efficient. The performance of the cloud is really fast because everything is hosted over internet, and the companies who are providing these services are taking care of bandwidth which allows multiple users to access the resource they are looking for. So yes, the performance is increased rapidly. And next comes the data security. As you all know that with the increase of internet, the cyber threats have also increased. So companies are increasing their investment day by day to enhance the security models, the way the inventions, like how we can be more secure in the online world. So when you are taking services from the cloud, the company ensures like, yes, your data should be protected and you should feel secure while taking up the services. Now, moving towards the next, the faster deployment and the market release. As I discussed earlier, since everything is hosted over the internet, like where we can test up the test cases and suppose at one try, everything is fast. So with the end-to-end automation of the services, we can easily deploy it, and yes, our user can use that facility with the ease of scaling, as I discussed earlier, this point as well. The need, whatever is the need, we need to use or take up the services accordingly. Suppose if I want to use 10 VMs, okay, so and but currently due to some situation I'm only able to use one, so I won't be in the tension to like take up the 10 priorly only and then use it. So if I'm taking up the one, I'll use it and I'll pay accordingly. So this is how you can upscale and downscale everything as per your need. Remote access and availability has been a really important part of cloud computing because here it has provided us location independency, which means if I want to collaborate with one of my colleague in sitting in America, I can ask him to via internet to fetch up that product on which we are working. The real time accessing on that product allows us to be like more productive, discuss the issues because we are working on that product in the real time, which comes to the discussion of the next point as well, the collaboration and productivity. And the last, the most important point that I want to discuss is the disaster recovery. So, like the cloud native businesses have a really faster rate of disaster recovery in case your data is breached or some cyber threat has been applied to your data because your entire data is backed up in the cloud or multiple data centers as per your choice of making it when you were initializing the data into the backup mode. Because via this way, if one of the server fails, we can fetch up our data accordingly by other data centers or the other cloud. So every time if we have a backup, so this also puts up apart from the tension. So the Azure VMs. Before this, I would like to introduce the Azure portal. So can you switch me to the demo screen, Rashmita, please?
So, Adya, just before you go there, right? So I just wanted to ask everyone, like, what according to you is cloud computing is? People who have joined online, you can just type in your answers as well. But people who are here, can you let me know so that I can read out answers also? What is cloud computing?
Basically rent computers which companies provide. Instead of investing into buying the servers for our offline, we just buy a service so we can use someone else's computer.
Okay. So one of the person is talking about instead of investing or buying new computers, I'm going to use it online. That's one.
Reducing the computational facility for data-driven technologies like AI, machine learning, where we can use the cloud computing to run all our
Okay.
deploy production, whatever it might be the application, we can use cloud for trading.
For large data.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. You
Big
mean to
data.
say big data.
Suppose if the number of users are fluctuating very massively, and
Then you want to scale.
or like
It's about scale. What else?
So using computer services over internet anytime.
Mm-hmm. Using computers over internet. What others have to say? Cloud is a back-end technology. Cloud computing is an on-demand availability of computer system resources. So all of these things are coming. So yeah, you have one more answer.
Managing data efficiently,
Mhm.
secure.
In a secure manner. Managing data, anyways, you mentioned. So in a secure manner is what cloud computing is. So basically, a lot of everything is right. What I would suggest is think from a very different way, like three things: compute, network, and storage. These are the main things about you use in a machine, right? When you're planning to buy a laptop, you always think about what? Compute, storage, network, right? A network is basically to connect and other things. But if you're putting this into a network, you will obviously think about how securely it is available for you to access it and all those things. So think from that perspective, and when you put everything onto the internet and you're accessing all of these things through internet, that's where cloud computing comes into picture. And all the things which Adya mentioned, there are a couple of things. There is security, there is scale, there is availability, the reliability and the performance and all those things which is mentioned by Adya is um, what comprises of cloud computing. So I'm going to bring up your demo thing as well, right, Adya?
Yes, please.
Okay, you can continue.
Okay. Thank you so much. Like talking so much about the cloud computing and all, I would like to introduce you to Azure portal. Basically, Azure is via which Microsoft is providing us with the cloud computing services. So starting with the introduction for the portal, I'll start with this. This is the profile tab. As you can see here, like I have been logged in with my MLSA ID. That is Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador ID. If you want to go through this ID and check out what it is, so you can have a first free dollars credit and explore. So you will have this free dollar ID or your profile here. Via this you can view your account. uh, so this is how you can view your account, your security info, the devices in which, like, this is the device on which it's logged in right now. Here you can see the device name, the type of device, and whether it's active or not. So the password organization, this is how the profile tab goes. But starting with the services, you can see here we have here creating resource option, the virtual machine, the resource group. Here, this is all resource by which you can fetch all your resources, the bot services, the storage account, the app services, and yes, the recents. So this UI helps you to access some really used services provided by Azure at your single tap. Now here you can see the resources. I have made few things because I have been using Azure portal a lot. So with different symbols, you can see this is some different projects are going on. Like the first one, this symbol is from VM. This is for resource group. Now, talking about the resource group, we would be using it in the further session. The resource group means it's basically a container where you are going to put in your resource to create anything. Okay. So it's basically a foundation for creating your further applications or further services. Like if I take example of demo VMs, I can use it to create my further demo of the VM, which I would be showing you. I hope that this basic of Azure is clear to all you know. Now this is the CLI via which you can use the Azure. You can use in the command line to operate Azure portal. Here it's the directory plus subscription. You can check like what subscription is here going on. Like you can see in here, my student ambassador subscription is going on. The settings here, and if you have any problem, you can ask for support. So this was the rough briefing or rough travel through the entire Azure portal. Uh, can I get back to my PPT, Ashmita? Okay, thank you. So now I showed you all like what are the services available on the Azure portal. I would like to focus on virtual machine, which is one of the most used service on the Azure portal. Now, talking about virtual machine, so not to complicate the stuff, it's basically internal computers that is operated virtually. So taking up a scenario, suppose like I am employing 10 to 15 people under my company, and I want them to use certain kind of machine. Suppose I want them to use the systems of 1 TB, but it isn't HD having 1 TB. So like it isn't possible for each and everyone to follow my same configuration. And as a company provider, it would be really difficult for me to invest in that hardware for particular person. And maybe what if they leave the company and go, and my resource investment goes in vain. So that's where virtual machine comes into the picture. Why this people can configure their systems according to their need, and they just need to pay them via hour. Like if I'm using certain like I'm using standard SDD for deploying a website, so and it cost me around 8,000, 9,000 an hour, so I just need to pay that only to my service provider, which in this case is Microsoft, the Azure. So in that way, I am already only paying for what I am using. My money is saved, my time is saved, and the quality, security, everything is on the company provider. So yes, so this is how the virtual machines work and how it's supposed. So virtual machine sometimes is abbreviated as just as VM. It is an actual computer, much like a laptop, smartphone, or a server. So it is equipped with the CPU requirements, RAM, disk, file storage, and a computer or software-defined system inside of a real server. Although the components that make up a computer it refers as hardware, but this entire thing for our virtual machine is hosted over the server. So I hope that is clear. Now, talking of this picture clearly shows us like the how the virtual machines work. Taking up if I have three virtual machines here. We are having app, OS virtualization server, physical server, 1, 2, and the shared storage. Here you can see like via one storage, I am able to operate three machines. That is just an instance, a case. But this can even multiply according to the requirements and the data center or the uh, base where we are gonna apply a virtual machine. So what is the operation of a virtual machine? Like I discussed earlier, it's just for the namesake virtual, but entire thing it is doing is as per our need, and everything done is on the remote server. So the files which are generally refers to as image, the user can complete the computer existence as it's typical on many works PCs. So like you can sit on your personal laptop and without having your company issue the hardware for your another working laptop, you can log into your VM, you can work. So that could be one use case of the VM. So I would like to use now discuss more usage of VMs. So building and deploying apps on the cloud. We are trying to make a new operating system including beta releases. So yes, these VMs are really useful for testing out new features, new cloud, because that won't hamper your physical system. So it's a really good development, the sandbox environment, which I would say. And we can be backing up our existing OS. We can access the virus infected data or running an old application by installing an older OS. So virtual machines allows you to select your OS, use your non-updated data on the previous, which supports on the previous OS, by in that sandbox area where your still physical system is still safe. So this is a really good use of virtual machine. This is also, as I discussed earlier, it has quite similar benefits as of cloud computing, like it's cost saving. You pay for what you are using per HLT and speed. So since everything is hosted over the internet, the company is taking care and investing on the speed and the flexibility. So you get a quite good speed, and when processing your data and accessing the entire environment, you feel the smoothness and silkiness of each and every accessing data. Now, lower downtime. VMs are so portable and easy to move from one hyper version to another on a different machine, which means they are the great solution for backup. And you can back up your data, your projects over it in really good manner. The scalability, VM allows us to be more easily scalable. It helps you to scale up, scale down, scale your apps, test them in the new environment, and security benefits. So VMs are quite secure because, as I discussed earlier, the company providers are investing a lot in security, and it is like we are a multiple operating system. We are using guest operating system, and VM allows us to run the apps with the questionable security. So since this environment is so secure, and we have like sandbox environment, suppose sandbox environment, it's good for testing, it's good for operating, like it's a really good option for developing and accessing, and also a great business solution. So can I get switched into the demo session? Okay, now I would like to share with you all like how we can make a virtual machine with the help of Azure portal. So for this, we can directly go from here, virtual machine. This is one that I have made earlier. I'll show. So here the subscription you need to choose. I have this subscription which comes under my MLSA ID. So I would be using this. Comes the resource book. As I discussed earlier, it's the foundation of where you would be settling up your VM. So I would be setting up your demo VMs. Now the demo virtual machine name, it's very important so that you can access. So here was some naming convention that I want to share with you. Azure resource name cannot contain these special characters, white spaces, or it can begin with underscore or this. You can use this space for spacing in between the name. So I would be naming it as demo VM2. The region I'm selecting is Asia Pacific East Asia, and leaving it all to the defaults right now for demo purpose. And I would be showing you the demo for the Windows server. And this is really important. Make sure when you are naming it, putting in the credentials for your username and password, keep it handy so that you will connect your VM here. Okay, so now putting it up, the username, the password, make sure this is kept handy with you because later it would be required by connecting our VM. So I would allow here RDP, which is Remote Desktop Protocol, via which we would be able to connect our VM of Windows. Okay, so let's go to the disk. Here I don't require much because I'm doing it for demo purpose. So I can use standard SDT, which is you can see best for web servers, likely used enterprise applications. So it is more than enough for showing up a demo. Now going next to networking settings. See the virtual the names are given by default. This is the public IP which you will be seeing, and we are allowed here the selected role, which is our default here. Next, the management we can already record. Next, monitoring. Next, here the VM which I am making is for the demo purpose and also having the time constraint, so I took it on the basic. So whenever taking more upon the requirements and all, one should study the requirements and then VM accordingly. I will now create a creator. Here you can see in the notification bar that our deployment has started. It's submitting a deployment. You can check upon your um, status of your deployment from here. By the meantime, it's deploying. If there are any questions that we could answer for you.
Meanwhile, if you have any questions, just ask while we are waiting for it to get created. No questions? Everybody knows how to create VMs?
Okay, so deployment has been successful. Here, this is the UI that you can see after creating our virtual machine. Here are the entire details. Now let's see how we can connect to this. Since we have RDP, SSH, and Bastion options here to connect with our EVM. RDP stands for Remote Desktop Protocol. SSH is Secure Shell Programming, which is used for Linux, and Bastion is something new from Azure that I would be explaining later. So starting with RDP, I would click here. And to connect with RDP, I would download RDP file. So here you can see the file has been downloaded. And to connect on it, I'll start with connect. And under more choices, I'll use a different account. So taking up the username that we had created while making a VM and entering the same password to connect. Is my screen visible of new VM?
Yes, yes, it's visible.
Yes. Like the new VM I created.
Yeah, yeah. It's which is available. There are a bunch of things you need to take care before you play around with data. And that is also from different country has different rules. You have to follow those rules. Are they able to share?
Yeah, I just shared my other screen. Could you see it?
Yeah.
That's it. So this is the VM after opening the RDP file and putting in the credentials that we used for username and the password while creating the VM. So you can see here like this machine is just according to the configuration, the general configuration, and I can use it as per my name. But the thing is this, when using this VM, it's hard for me to navigate to and fro in between my physical system and this VM. So coming in to rescue this, we have Azure Bastion service. So let me first show you what is Azure Bastion service, and then I'll show you how to use it. Minimizing this. Uh, is my screen visible of Azure portal? Is it visible? Yeah, I see it. So we saw like how to connect with RDP. Now let's go with the Bastion. So Bastion is a new Azure service which allows us faster and more secure connection to VM with the VMware. So while explain, I'll first use Bastion here. And here again, as I asked you, please keep your username and password handy because it would be required by you to connect even by RDP or a Bastion service. So putting in this credential, what Azure Bastion service does is it protects our, okay. So before proceeding further, as you can see, as I log in with the Bastion service, my another screen which I showed earlier has been disconnected because another connection was made to the remote computer. So before understanding this statement, I would like to explain like Bastion service is basically a cover for a VM which makes it more secure, and it basically covers a public available IP address, the RDP address, the port, so that it could be secure and we can move in towards the more security and avoid all the cyber threats. So when I logged in here, you can see another tab has been opened and this VM has been started to operate. You can see I can use here the edge, and we can just operate it as per our needs. We can customize it. This now counting upon the benefits of using Bastion, you can see it's really easy for
So
me to switch.
Adya, we can't see that.
It's not just a
No, I think it's a different screen which you are using. So that's the reason.
second. Is it visible now? Like I have been switching in between them.
Yeah.
Okay. So explaining again, this is the VM which has opened after login via Bastion. As you can see, this has been opened in my web browser itself, which means it's easy for me to switch in between my VM and my physical system that I am using, which makes it more handy. Apart from that, as I discussed earlier, it covers the ports so that our VM is avoiding cyber threats and is a secure environment to work in. This can be further customized as per our needs. You can see here that like a normal computer, we can use all the systems here, but this could be upgraded to even more better VM because right now have you just used the basic ones for the demo purpose, but it can be even flourished more when we are using more advanced options and creating a more advanced VM. So now switching back to our Azure portal screen.
PPT.
We have created everything, we have understood VMs, but now let's see what to do when we are not using the VM. So going back here, you can see the delete option here. So I can use this and I can delete my deployment so I'm not charged when I'm not using and my work has been done. So this is how you can delete a VM, and you can check up the notification for the status of your deployment, and if you are doing multitasking, you can proceed with them. See, the deployment has been deleted and now I won't be charged. So this is the resource group, and whatsoever it would consist, the resource group would be having, you can see here by clicking in it.
So Adya, you got last 2 minutes, huh? Because we
Yeah,
need to
yes,
bring in the other speakers. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so everything has been deleted. With this, I would like to wrap up my session. If there are any questions, I would love to answer them. And if not, you can ping me upon my social media handles, and I would love to chit chat there with you. Any questions that I can answer?
Any questions? Yeah.
Whenever I'm creating a VM, my data is persistent or after using and shutdowning, it has been lost.
Okay. People who are online, you can also ask questions. So keep pushing the questions, and Adya can answer the questions in the chat itself. But for this question, the question here is, will my data be persistent when we spin up a VM? And when we stop it, when we back it up and all those? Yes, it is.